Councilwoman Kaplan, please.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see all of you here. Actually, I didn't expect to see you here because I've been hearing from you, and I have been responding to you and telling you to contact the school board members to write, to call, and to show up. I didn't tell you to show up to us. I told you to show up to them. So I'm a little surprised to see all of you, but I'm really happy to see you because I can see that you do know how to come out in strength and how to bring some passion to the whole issue. I'm totally with you. I think it would be, commercial use of that building would really be a terrible thing for the community. I know I wouldn't like a commercial business next to my house or in my neighborhood. Commercial, we're zoned for commercial in certain areas, and I think that's where commercial should be. Nonetheless, it's not up to us. And as I told many of you, it's like a train. It's easier to stop it in the beginning because we're at the end of the line, and then the train is already really moving down. So keep up the hard work. Really, it is hard work, but I think I can see that you're united, and I love that you've brought your representatives here because they have a lot of power to say this is really about us. It's not just your voices, it's your children's voices. So I encourage you to keep doing this, make a lot of noise. Some of us are supportive of you, and we're going to hope for a good outcome because it really does matter.
I think it's time for our school district to set forth the rules of the game. There's too much uncertainty with what's going on, and I think the last speaker, next to last speaker, mentioned that at least let us know what the rules are. Let everybody have a fair chance. I'm concerned that I understand some of you went to the school board meeting tonight and maybe didn't get a chance to speak. I would ask that the school board at least set a separate meeting to hear your concerns and your interests.
The Millikin School on Crest Road is now facing a similar predicament as those Cleveland schools, but it's right here in my neighborhood. The school is just a few blocks away from my house, and with property values already skydiving in our city, the last thing we need is an abandoned, run-down building in our midst. This is truly a city issue.
I have a lot to say, and I have to be careful what I say because our law director, I don't want to have him fall out of the chair. But clearly, this is more than an Orthodox Jewish issue for me. Just last week, I met with the administrators of Mosdos. We had a lovely conversation about the very issues you've all raised tonight. I don't like to do this, but I think I have to do this. I think it's time to send down the gauntlet with the school board on this issue. I can no longer sit back. I was involved 5 years ago when you made a generous offer, and that Ari Jaffe was your attorney at the time, and we spun a lot of wheels and spent a lot of time. We're no further ahead today than we were there. So with the permission of council, I'm going to ask our staff tomorrow to draft a letter to the school board asking them to have one of two things or both: a special meeting with this city council to discuss this issue and this issue only, or a special meeting so you guys can be heard and you don't have to wait 2 or 3 or 4 weeks to their next school board meeting.
And really the way we look at it is we have this core, we have this group of people who are devoted to these few streets and really need something secure, something to keep us here, something to give us a reason to keep returning generation after generation to this neighborhood as we have done before. And it's really, not the way of us to do business, to demand, to ask, We would like just the political process to go normally and us to vote and the people to make their opinions known. But the truth is we're very concerned, because what we see from school board is not an open discussion. We don't see a back and forth. We don't see explanation of what they want to do. I've attended the recent, school board meetings, and, they've been polite, they've been appropriate, but there's been no interest in really hearing our full side of the story, really talking to our people, hearing how much we can offer, how much more we can offer, what we're going to do with the piece. It just completely closed. And as an American, a person who's a defender of democracy and likes it when things are done in an open way, it concerns me very much. And it makes me and the people of my community almost feel desperate without, ability to make a difference, without the ability to affect something that fundamentally affects our life, that is the anchor of our community. And so we come to the City Council, who's done so much for us, helped us, our community to foster, to ask them to go above and beyond what they would normally do and do something that can help this process, to open it up, to make sure the school board makes an open sale where Mosdos and other schools can have an opportunity to once again anchor the community, bring the playground back, bring the kids back, and make this a safe place to live once again.
Councilwoman Evans, please.
Good evening. It is wonderful to see all of you here, but certainly rather discouraging for you to have to come out under the circumstances. But you have a good reason to come out, to speak up, to do what you need to do so that people can understand how important it is to have Mosdos remain in our community. I certainly stand behind you. You can let me know if there's anything that I can do, and I will certainly see what I can do about supporting you even more. Thanks.
5 years ago, we chose to move to Cleveland Heights because we found a school called Mosdos Ohr Hatorah that meets the educational needs of our children. It is extremely frustrating for us that we know that for the past 5 years, Mosdos Ohr Hatorah has had proposals out to the school board to purchase the Millikin property, and the school board has not been willing to entertain their proposals. In fact, Mosdos Ohr Hatorah has had the highest bid out on the property, and they elected to keep the property vacant rather than sell it to Mosdos Ohr Hatorah. Our children's education is the responsibility of the Cleveland Heights School Board, as much as any other children in the Cleveland Heights and University Heights. And we feel that the message that we're getting is that our children's education is not important to them.
But, you know, we got to continue on this course, and we got to work together. I'm prepared to join with you and go to the next school board meeting if that's what it needs to do. I got to be very careful because I may have to vote on something one day, so I cannot officially take a position one way or the other. But this issue needs to be decided positively. But, for example, let me explain one thing very clearly to you. This city will not participate with the school board on taking the property from them and selling it to someone else or leasing it to someone else. This city council will not be involved in that.
I am a Millikin parent. I had a child in Millikin when Millikin closed. I am, of course, a Mosdos parent. And I live on Severn Road, just a few houses away from the property that we're talking about, so my concern is great all around. There's a tradition that Millikin had for fine education and supporting the children. But just from a community point of view, we had many of these girls and children in the room, the boys, played at Millikin in the playground when it was there. And, you know, Mosdos is offering an opportunity for the children in the neighborhood to have that opportunity back. I've heard rumor of a baseball diamond even. This is what these kids need. They need that opportunity to be outside. It would be wonderful.
Laura?
I have a good friend who lives 3 houses from Millikin, and I'm really in support of this community being filled up. But that's not why I came.
Or the school board to do immediately is to open up this process, let the community be heard, and weigh all of those factors that you brought up tonight in making their decision. Thank you.
And my wife wanted me to point out, we live across the street right now from a public school, which has that general open agreement of having their parks available to anyone who wants to use them under reasonable provisions, and we find that of tremendous benefit. So again, this is of tremendous benefit for the community, and if the council will just make the issues clearer to the Board of Education in the way that only the council can deal with.
So if there's any rumors out there that city council is cooperating with the school board, are going to work out some deal and lease it or do something like that, that is false. We're not going to do it. We've had that discussion. It's not going to happen. But again, I want to thank you all for coming tonight, but I want to impress upon you, we've only just begun. Keep the petitions going. Go to meetings, go to houses. I appreciate all the emails and phone calls. You know, you can keep emailing us and sending us phone calls, stuff like that. But the real people are the 5 people, 4 of which live in Cleveland Heights and 1 of which lives in University City, are on the school board. The superintendent, your tax dollars go to his salary. He needs to hear from you. He really needs to hear from you. And I'm disappointed that that many of you showed up there tonight and they did not give you 10 minutes of their time to listen to your concerns.